Kite. Julie Paquette here, reporting from the Dominican Republic in my house. So starting off this course, I never really liked research method. I had a bad experience in a similar course in CEGEP and didn't connect with the idea of why I needed the information to benefit my life or future research, and so I was excited to take this course in order to bend and shape that experience as well as to understand research methods in a concrete context like we're doing right here with this comparative project. So welcome to my presentation. So how the projects and theses were organized. So I decided to read 2 studies, and they were fascinating. Not only were they necessary to complete this assignment, however, I found myself genuinely interested in the topic at hand. So the 2 projects had to do with the benefits of nature on students. The first study broke down information very clearly. So their sections and chapters and information were very clear, and not only were they very clear in the introduction, but as well as with the titles and how they were separated. So I felt like the author of that study actually led the readers into what she was going to talk about, what she was talking about, and then revised what she talked about. So it was hand-holding throughout the project, as well as very clear and concise. The second study on the behavioral effects of learning outdoors, the sections were very detailed, as well as outlined a breakdown throughout her articles. However, there was a lot of chapters, a lot of titles, and a lot of information, and I felt like it was less of a hand-holding and more of a struggle to try to understand what her research was about and what her points was that she was trying to put forth. And so I felt like the first study I related to more, and if I were to do a research paper, which I will be doing for my master's, I would like to relate it more to the first topic and really guide people throughout my projects and make it feel like it was a breeze to read and not an effort to read my project. The second one, so what is the research question? So the first study had the research question in one sentence, very clear, concise, like in her descriptions previously. However, the second one, I'm a perfectionist and I love to use wordy language and language with meat and consistency. However, this study put too much detail into their question, and so you got lost in what they were trying to explain, what they were trying to go for. However, it was beautifully written and had a flow. It was a little bit too complicated for what was being put forth. So again, I related more to the first study in how they were very clear, concise, and used very intentional language within their sentence and question. What methods did the researchers use to assist them in answering their questions? Well, the first study used qualitative, quantitative data, which was collected through questionnaires, pre- and post-student studies, daily observations, teacher journals, and these were really a breakdown of different ways that you can take information and use them for research. Whereas the second study used tally sheets, which tallied students' behavior, so it was an observation of students' behavior pre-going outside, while they went outside, and post going outside. They also did a pre and post attitude assessment scale. However, I felt like they could have used a lot more different ways in order to gather information. There's so many other ways and research methods which you can do this other than observation. And so again, I connected to the first study. What were the commentary or dialogue on methodology? So both projects included clear descriptions of why general methodologies were used, descriptions of each methodology used, appendixes which provided the tools themselves that they used, as well as analysis of each methodology used and the data itself. So it was very clear, concise, and they both did this very clearly. Was there discussion on ontology and epistemology in any of the documents? So both documents did not talk about both ontology or epistemology. However, I could certainly pull examples, specific examples from both. However, they did not clearly talk about this in their papers themselves. But the examples were very clear when you were to read into them and if you knew what ontology or epistemology were. How did the researchers share answers to the research questions? Are the findings represented in text, numbers, images? So the descriptions of each methodologies used to collect data were represented in text form, so descriptions, findings, journal, observations, surveys, and graphs. So the graphs that were created to demonstrate concrete numbers from the surveys themselves, so they were shown in bar charts as well as line graphs in different ways put forth in graphs. And are there similarities in documents that you've chosen, and what makes a document unique? So there's many similarities between both studies that I did choose. Both were researchers found in learning outdoors and how the learning outdoors could benefit children as well as teachers, and the natural world to be more accessible and for students to appreciate the natural world more. And for youth to see the value in nature and engage in it and feel empowered and do something about it and they both consisted of these topics. However, the differences were definitely in the quality of how these studies were written. So again, one was a lot more to the point, whereas the other one was detail-oriented. To read something that's detail-oriented takes a lot of patience, a lot of time, and a lot of investment for the reader. And I thought that this could have been done in the same way that the first study did, however more to the point, and allow the reader to go on this journey and understand the results that were produced at hand in a more natural way. The second study, I felt the answers from the observations did not match the study itself, and so sticking to your goal and being concise with what you want and having a goal for the end and what you want your product to actually look like is important to keep in mind. Thank you so much.